What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Angel. Welcome to Universal Strength, where we transcend today for better tomorrows. In today's video, I want to do a little recap on StepN and how things have changed in the last 2 months. Stick around. First and foremost, what I want to say is that this is not financial advice. Do your own research. As I'm going to show you today, this market is insane and it moves so freaking quickly. Me personally, I have had a relatively good time and experience with the use of StepN and cryptocurrencies, but I know that there are some people out there who are getting absolutely wrecked, and I just really can't stress enough that it is important that you just take the time to do your own research and accept your own personal choices, because the only person that's making you do any of this is you. And just be sure that you know that fully and completely and totally, and blah 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 blah. So what's happened in the crypto space the last little bit? Terra Luna took the entire crypto by storm. Basically, Terra Luna has had a massive crash on their stablecoin, which I think is just going to be ushering in CBDC regulatory clarity. And we're going to be seeing Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell talk about how they're going to be regulating the crypto space. And I think that overall it's a good thing. But obviously, for all those poor people who were a part of Luna and the bullshitty that happened with it, I feel for him. So the crypto space is completely down, with Jerome Powell jumping the interest rates up. The stock market took a hit as well, and ultimately how that has also affected StepN and its overall price action. There's also a little bit of other things that I'm going to get into here on the video, but for now what I'm going to do is just kind of rewind a little bit and just kind of focus on some of the growth that we've seen in StepN. So when I first started back in March 28th, there were only about 40,000 total users, give or take, and now we are looking at 646,000 users that are playing StepN, so that's an awesome thing for tokenomics. One thing that has happened that is probably going to shift how many total daily users there are is that China has actually banned all forms of cryptocurrency, and in 6 weeks or so, the StepN app will no longer be accessible to anyone in China. And now originally the Chinese were getting around the fact that they weren't actually allowed to use StepN by utilizing a Hong Kong SIM card, and then being able to have a Hong Kong phone essentially to be able to get around this. But from what I understand, what they're going to be doing is actually cutting off the GPS signal to the app from those locations. So sadly, what's happened is that those people are panic selling, as you would if all of a sudden your total asset was useless to you in the next 6 weeks. So everything has kind of taken a massive dump in the total StepN ecosystem. Now, it is a good thing, because for anybody who isn't yet into StepN, they're going to be benefiting from a current floor price on Solana. Right now, I believe that currently the shoes are being sold for 7 Solana, which is $400. So, I mean, that is a very cheap shoe at $400. And just recently, they implemented the Binance realm. So you can actually now choose, instead of doing Solana, you can actually choose to go on the Binance network. And you can actually buy for 1.8 Binance coin, you can get a shoe for $730. So, I mean, a little bit more pricey, but that being said, the rewards on the Binance chain are currently still a little bit higher. So for example, right now, green Satoshi token on the Solana network is $1.43. And on the Binance chain, it's $3.48. So, man, oh man, a lot has happened here. So basically, Solana has opened up 2 chains now, and they're calling them realms. I think in the future they're going to have like realm wars where you're going to be able to get rewarded because your Solana network might have a certain amount of kilometers ran versus the Binance network. I think that this is going to have a large play in the badges and things that they plan to implement within the game. It's very exciting. I look forward to seeing how this all plays out and where this all goes. So currently, in between the two realms, GST is separate. So there's a Solana GST and there's a Binance GST. And the GMT is actually realm shared. So that's going to allow for the liquidity of the game because ultimately this game, GST is just the gamified version, the gamified token, and what is going to be the governance token, the thing that's actually going to be very valuable is GMT. They haven't yet implemented it to be farmable in the game. They are talking about doing that in the next 2 months or so, and what that means is that comfort, the stat comfort, is going to be playing a big role in the game, and level 30 is actually going to be a valuable thing to go to. Right now, most people get to either level 9 or level 19 because anything higher than that just has huge diminishing returns, and the cost to reward ratio isn't really there. But what's really neat is that GMT is actually going to have a sort of a Bitcoin tokenomics to it, meaning that only a certain amount of it will be able to be rewarded per day, and based upon how high your comfort is and how much energy you use in your run, you're going to have a certain amount of that reward. Kind of cool. I don't know much more than that, and I look forward to seeing where this all goes in the future. So ultimately, for anybody who hasn't entered into the market yet, it's actually a pretty interesting time just because the market is so low, everything is so cheap. If you can enter into the market, take advantage of the fact that China is currently selling off a ton of their assets, and you can potentially scoop up some Solana shoes for really, really cheap. Once again, not financial advice. Do your own research. But yeah, so ultimately, when I started in, things were a lot hotter. So right now, let's see. When I joined in here, the total GST count. Where were we? We were March 28th here, so it was $4.16, and then all of a sudden it skyrocketed all the way up to $10. They put out a double minting event, and as you can see, it brought it right down to $6. Things started to pick back up, and we all thought we were going back to 10. And then the Terra Luna thing happened, and we just started crashing. We just kept on going, and so far we're now at $1.43. And for anyone that entered in at these peaks, I feel for you. And if you were part of that Luna Terra stuff, oh man, I feel for you because I've heard horror stories of people who thought that was going to be a stable coin. They had over $200 million in the network or something like that, and now it's worth fractions of a penny. Anyway, I'm not going to get too far into that. Obviously, the reason why I share that is because, you can hear a lot of influencers talk big about their earnings, or a lot of YouTubers, I should say, not influencers, not that I'm an influencer, but you can hear these YouTubers talking about all the success of the crypto space, but they don't really talk about the parts that suck. For example, with the Binance chain, people were buying in common sneakers at $30,000 a coin back when the GMT token was sitting at $36, and all of a sudden, within less than 5 days or so, it just came crashing on down. And now we're looking at $3.42. Those poor people will probably not see their initial investment for a year to 2 years before they're finally ROI'd. I don't think that the GST is going to ever go back to that dollar value because it's ultimately unsustainable. Hopefully they've got enough financial position within their Solana network and their BNB network, that maybe they'll be able to like offset that into GST, or sorry, their GST into GMT, and then maybe they can recoup that when GMT goes back up to like say $5 or $10. Because ultimately, I do believe that GMT is going to be worth $10 a coin in the late future. So save that for another time. But basically, positive news in terms of StepN right now is that we've got multi-chains coming. We have a secret partnership with some company, and they haven't released who. Pardon me. One of the really cool things that has happened is Alchemy Pay has actually partnered with StepN. I'm going to just turn off the volume here just because I believe I got a speaker on. But basically now retail stores can actually allow you to pay in GMT, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. So be sure to check out Alchemy Pay. They just show you kind of a quick example of what that looks like. So basically you just put in your amount, you've got your Posi system here, you select the cryptocurrency that you're wanting to pay in, and then you just QR scan the code, and la-di-da, and Bob's your uncle. So pretty cool. I think that this ultimately, as I've tried to talk about, I think that this is the future. I believe that ISO 20022 compliancy and Web 3.0 and the Internet of Things are all going to be a part of our lives. And for anybody that has the opportunity to invest at this time will hopefully benefit if they do their own market research and ultimately invest into real world utility. I also think that StepN is going to be an amazing application. I would just like people to think of a partnership, for example, with Nike or Adidas. And let's just say hypothetically Nike or Adidas comes out with their own chain or their own realm. And now what's going to happen is that they will have their own GST token. Hopefully they will be able to set the floor price for their sneakers to reflect the actual dollar value of real world sneakers, which I think would be awesome, because then all of a sudden when you buy, say, a real world sneaker, you actually get the NFT. So now all of a sudden when you buy a pair of Nikes or you buy a pair of Adidas, you actually get rewarded in real money. I mean, I just think about that, you guys. Like, that's the level of utility that Web 3.0 has to offer. And StepN is one of the first move to earn games that is actually being really successful. Anyway, that's just one example that I have. I'm sure that there's plenty of others. How are things going in terms of my experience with it? Well, so far I have ran or I've jogged or I've walked every day for the past 2 months. Without fail. There's not a single day that I've missed. And I mean, there's times where I've even like gone out on a walk or a run or a jog or whatever in and around a time frame that I didn't want to go. But you just can't pass up this experience when cash flow is coming in through the door. It almost feels like a job, even though it's only 45 minutes to 20 minutes to an hour or whatever it is that you have the ability to do. So I think that this is going to be something that's going to really change the world. I'm looking forward to seeing the progress of where it is that this is all going to go. I think that, we've got some pretty big changes in the makings. For example, in the past, minting 2 shoes together to get an additional sneaker, it required GST and GMT. Right now, what they're doing to try to encourage level 1 magic boxes to actually be lucrative, because right now the cost to open them is more than the actual cost that you can sell the gem inside of. They're going to be implementing minting scrolls, and those minting scrolls are going to be used to try to slow down how much minting is happening on the market. I think that's a good thing, because, I mean, as we can see with the amount of money that some people will dump into this game to mint, we end up getting this situation where these mass sell-offs, and it completely tanks both the floor prices and the GST prices. So yeah, I ultimately my experience with StepN so far has been extremely positive. I am definitely getting in shape again, even being a heavy offset dude. It has been a very slow, progressive, healthy way of losing weight and getting back cardiovascular activity. Ultimately, what's really cool about StepN is that they've put the thought of that into their entire model. At the very beginning, if you just have one shoe, you can only go out for 10 minutes of paid work. So they really also encourage you to know your fitness level before you purchase a sneaker. So you can still get the account or the app, and you can still hit start, and you just don't earn anything, and go out for a run, and you'll be able to see how hard it is for you to maintain, a jog or a run based upon, like, in the app there. They've got like a little dial that basically will tell you how fast you're going. And if you find that you are not able to maintain, say, 5 kilometers per hour for the 20 minutes that you go out or whatever, then maybe getting a walker shoe is better for you than a jogger shoe. Or if you're able to like just kill it and keep your cadence at like 8 or 10 kilometers per hour for the 20 minutes, then maybe you should get yourself a runner, so then that way you can benefit from the higher earnings. So yeah, they've really put that thought in there about slowly progressing people, so then that way they don't hurt themselves or injure themselves. But anyway, StepN is an amazing experience. I invite everybody to consider trying it out if they have the ability to put down, $400 or $200 or whatever it might be. I believe that it's going to be here to stay, and it's just a matter of time before StepN grows to be this amazing global experience that large companies like Adidas and Nike are going to be a part of. One thing that I want to say too is they're also trying to make it so that, things like cross-country skiers, triathlon runners are able to benefit. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point with these realms, they reskin certain things. So for example, I'm just using it as an example. This hasn't happened yet. But let's just say you are a avid biker, and maybe you go out for 100 kilometers worth of biking per day. Maybe they will make it so that bikes can be used with StepN, and you will be able to just go out for your bike ride instead of going out for a run. It's very possible. I don't think it's limited to that. I wouldn't even be surprised if they figure out a way to make it so that soccer players could get paid to play soccer, or football players could get paid to play football. I think it's just a matter of time. We'll see. But anyway, my experience with StepN, super positive. If you guys are interested in it, feel free to go look at the white paper there and go read it. And if you got any questions, leave them in the comments down below. See you in the next one.